I went to Israel a week or two after October 7th. I met with President Herzog. I met with Bibi in a bunker. Before I left, I got crates because we brought a field hospital. I went to the hospital in Israel to meet with victims and family members after the atrocities of October 7th. And so I want to level set on that basis. What I can't accept today, though, is what Bibi Netanyahu is doing in Israel. And I just can't countenance that. And that was, good people can disagree. I don't like the direction he's going. And I was specifically referring to a Tom Friedman column last week where Tom used that word of apartheid as it relates to the direction Bibi is going, particularly on the annexation of the West Bank. And I can't sit back in the spirit of this book, in the spirit, that define marriage equality, and this, in terms of, my values and beliefs, and watch that. I disagree with Bibi on, I went on Meet the Press. I said, it was about a year ago, he was doubling down on stupid, just abandoning a two-state solution. And so, yeah, I'm pointed in that respect, and I'm very angry with what he is doing and why he's doing it, what he's going to ultimately try to do to the Supreme Court there, what he's trying to do to save his own political career. And so forgive that outrage. This is it for Trump. His presidency as we know it today is over in a matter of months when Speaker Jeffries gets the gavel. There's nothing more important than that. Don't talk about 2028. It's not about 2028. It's about 2026. And it's about taking back the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. This notion of weakness has marked a lot of my frustration. And I'm not here to, and this is not, I'm not trying to bash my party. But this time...
Sometimes it's necessary.
But this time last year, I was worried. You may have felt differently. You may have said, we got this. But I didn't feel that this time last year. I did, Jack, right after Trump was elected, I got a lot of criticism from members of my own party because I did a special session of the legislature to prepare, they referred to in the press as Trump-proofing California. And that wasn't the frame I used, but I understood that frame in the context of having understood Trump and Trumpism 1.0. I was there, and we write about it in the epilogue briefly. This is not a book about my governorship, but in the epilogue I write about a story that Jack was referring to and a little bit about Trump and how I met him during my transition. For the first time, I was on Marine One, Air Force One. By the way, there's some good stories here. As he's taking me on the royal tour of the plane into his bedroom. And a lot, I'm just saying,
he's got a crush.
There's some interesting stuff here.
You and Zoran, you could really get him.
No, I got to talk to Zoran. I know how this love story ends, Zoran, but we did that, and people said, well, you just, that's a closed fist, not an open hand. I said, well, it's not about that. I hope we don't have to use any of the money we were doing. We did a supplemental appropriation for litigation. We just announced I think it's our 60th lawsuit against Trump. I don't even think there's been, 60 weeks since he's been elected. It's code red. It's not blinking yellow. It's code red. You've seen it. This guy, I was down on this book tour. We kicked it off down there in Atlanta, and it was, met with the commissioners down there in Fulton County. Yeah. I mean, he's going to take over that commission so he can manipulate and manage the outcome, one of the most critical swing districts in the United States for the election this November. We saw what happened on Election Day in California last November when we had an initiative on the ballot. Prop 50 sent out BORTAC teams. These are the Border Patrol tactical units. The guys dressed up, right out of, this is the Apache helicopter guys. And they were all sent out to Dodger Stadium the morning of the election to send a message to our diverse communities. You may not want to show up to vote. Trump sent out on Truth Social that morning, the election was rigged, sent out election monitors from the DOJ, Pam Bondi, who the next day announced the election was rigged, and they observed it, went to the Supreme Court. They are not screwing around. He wants to federalize the election. He says he wants to nationalize it one day, just 15 states elections because of the corruption. What's the SAVE Act? That's not about ID. It's about registration. It's about who gets to vote, who doesn't get to vote. They are not screwing around. We will lose this country. But first, we cannot lose our minds over this shock and awe. And so I just want to long-windedly sort of back to the introduction here, just thank you all for being here as the antidote to all of that, because you wouldn't be showing up if you'd given up. You wouldn't be here for yourselves and for each other and for this conversation if you had given into the cynicism, fear, and anxiety. So thank you.
Well,
subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.